Welcome back to my channel, everyone, and in this episode we're going to be talking about the Distillery District. The Distillery District is located just east of the downtown core. But first, show reel, hit it! The Distillery District is an internationally acclaimed village of brick-lined streets and dozens of brilliantly restored Victorian industrial buildings. The streets are lined with outdoor eating areas in the summer and into some of the other seasons. This contributes to the wonderful ambiance of this area. It's one of Ontario's hottest tourist attractions and home to live theaters, galleries, fashion, design, and jewelry boutiques, as well as other unique cafes and award-winning restaurants. It's all completely enclosed and closed to traffic, and just a few minutes walk from downtown Toronto. With more than 40 boutiques and one-of-a-kind shops, it's a well-known destination for its best-in-class. Shopping opportunities include everything from stylish fashions and trendy products to unique gifts and tasty take-home artisan treats. The Distillery District is home to a wide spectrum of world-renowned festivals and events, and I'll include the link below in the description so you can stay tuned to what's happening here. It's home to theaters, galleries, artists. The Distillery District is alive with culture. Discover Canada's premier compilation of artists and galleries. I will include again this link in the description below. So the Stone Distillery District is the most prominent structure on the site of the Distillery District, which is a National Historic Site. And this building was erected actually in 1859. And this is the oldest distillery structure in Canada, in fact. But on October 26, 1869, a fire erupted here and it lit up the entire Toronto sky. It happened around 7 p.m. and there was an explosion that actually blew off the roof of this building. And most of the wooden interior was actually destroyed, but luckily the exterior walls and machinery were actually unscathed. This building was actually rebuilt and is comprised of a heavy portion of limestone that you see today. And this is truly a classic building on this site. Now in 1837, Gooderham added a distillery to the mill and produced his first spirit, which was a whiskey. By the 1850s, the distillery was fully functioning, which included 4 mills and other facilities, but not limited to storage units and a copper shop. for barrel making. The Mill Street Brewery is the area's first commercial brewery to open up in over 100 years. Mill Street Brewery has actually revived its proud brewing heritage with handcrafted beers since its opening in 2002. Gooderham and Worts Distillery was founded back in 1832. Once provided over 2 million gallons of whiskey. Wow. Mostly for export on the world market. This company was later bought out by Hiram Walker Co., another large distillery. Then, with the deindustrialization of the surrounding area in the late 20th century, following this, the surrounding industrial and commercial buildings and structures were often demolished, leaving in disarray and surrounded by empty lots. The closing of the distillery operations in the late 1990s created redevelopment and reinvestment opportunities. The distillery district has been designated as a National Historic Site and has been protected under the Ontario Heritage Act since 1976. It's been selected by the National Geographic as a top pick in Canada for travelers. In fact, for some, this is known as Hollywood to the north. The economic recession of the early 1990s and resulting crash in residential condominium prices and office lease rates in downtown Toronto delayed efforts to actually revitalize this district. 2 residential condominium buildings were constructed on the actual grounds and periphery of the grounds in this district during the late 1990s. While the site awaited redevelopment, the district's ambiance began to attract numerous film shoots. Since the 1990s, this site has actually served as a location for more than 800 film and television productions. In 2001, the site was also purchased by Cityscape Holdings, Inc., which transformed the district into a pedestrian-oriented area that it is today. Work was completed and the district reopened to the public in 2003. The new owners refused to actually lease any of the retail or restaurant space to chains or franchises, and as a result, the majority of the buildings are actually occupied with boutiques, art galleries, restaurants, jewelry stores, cafes, coffee houses, including a well-known microbrewery called, you guessed it, Mill Street Brewery. The upper floors of a number of buildings have actually been leased to artists and for studio spaces and to office tenants with a creative flair or focus. A new theater called the Young Centre for the Performing Arts has also been opened on the site and serves as the home of the Soul Pepper Theatre Company and George Brown Theatre. There are plans to redevelop residential condominiums, offices, and more retail space on the vacant lands that surround this district. This area is actually considered prestigious in terms of real estate since it's a high demand area. You will actually pay a premium to shop here, so if shopping's your thing, it isn't for the faint of heart. New condominium developments will be located on the southeast corner of the neighborhood, bordering Cherry Street and Tank House Lane. So right now I'm on Trinity Street in the Distillery District, and this represents the largest laneway or pedestrian laneway in all of this pedestrian-friendly area of the Distillery District. Now, back in 2015, the Pan American Games, there was an athlete village that was actually built here, and this was in conjunction with an extension to the streetcar network. And this served this area very well during the Pan Am Games. It was constructed along Cherry Street. After the games, the athlete village was actually converted to townhomes, condos, and affordable housing, as well as retail space. So the Toronto Christmas Market, I come here every year. It's so beautiful here during Christmas. It's been an annual outdoor tradition for many years, actually since 2010. The market actually includes Santa's house, an indigo pop-up shop, pet photos with Santa, and there's so much. There's a Ferris wheel and themed entertainment. So you should check it out. And this themed entertainment happens each and every day. There are food vendors and dining locations that are also popular tourist attractions. The Distillery District's traditional paved streets and lanes are restricted to pedestrians, as well as cyclists, with general motor vehicle traffic restricted to streets only and parking areas in the area. Now, several large sculptures along the lanes and grounds have been added to really enliven its streetscapes. 3 being on Distillery Lane and one final one being at the parking area, which is right behind me. You'll see it at the end of Trinity Street. It's a beautiful structure. Another primary landmark is on the chimney stack atop the Boiler House complex. There are informal public spaces on the pedestrian streets with chairs and tables for general use. So the main thoroughfares within the district are Distillery Lane from Parliament Street, and this runs southeast to Trinity Street from Mill Street at its north end to the motor vehicle parking area. Tank House Lane from Trinity Street east to Cherry Street. So the 4 borders of the Distillery District are basically Parliament Street to the west, Mill Street to the north, Cherry Street to the east, and the parking area to the south, with the condominiums along the Distillery District periphery. It forms the borders edges for pedestrians. Toronto's official plan actually designates the Distillery District as a mixed-use parcel of land, which means that the area includes a combination of land uses such as commercial, residential, and entertainment facilities, as well as art galleries. The census has shown that the demographics are composed mostly of young adults to middle-aged persons, aged 21 to 59, primarily. Most households contain 1 to 2 persons, and the area has a lack of single detached homes, and it's mostly condominiums. The immigrant population of this area is actually largely made up of persons of European descent. See it very well, but this is 80 Mill Street. It's a co-op building, and it was built in 1998. It's a mid-rise building, and it's made up of 95 units with immediate access to all this area has to offer.